agus fáilte róh go léir agus go háirí a raibh an Commissioner nua agus buim gachra ort do rón tá muidir brahart tá na Garda ag brahart agus níos tábhachtaí tá muintir na tír ag brahart chun bailach nua a haspáint. Just I wish you the best in your new and the Garda are dependent on you, but the people more importantly are dependent on you, and we're here to look at your accounts. And there are many other issues that are for the Justice Committee and not for here, so I'm going to just stick with the accounts. And is this called a clear audit, Chair, with significant risks?
It's a clear audit opinion on the accounts. The matters that I'm raising are other matters. Okay. The accounts are clear.
The accounts are clear, but then within the accounts yourself, Commissioner, you've raised significant financial risks that are outlined. Yes. So the questions today, I mean, trust and accountability, and we've been here with Templemore, which I'm not going back on. We've had the Morris Tribunal, 70 million, Charlton, O'Higgins. In my 3 years in the Dáil, it's been bookended by 2 reports. I began with O'Higgins, which I read in detail, and Charlton. And so there have been serious issues in relation to accountability. So within that background, these accounts, so there are significant financial risks. So the first question, in relation to the audit process, and we know that the internal process prior to this wasn't really allowed to do its function, certainly in relation to Templemore, and issues emerged. Can you, as the accounting officer, tell us that the audit function, the internal audit function, and the audit committee are all functioning, they're meeting regularly, and everything is in order?
Yes, meet regularly, and my view of that is that it is working correctly. Yeah. I take a close interest in that, and I attend the meetings as Commissioner, in effect representing the management side. So good. So
factually, though that committee is meeting, that audit committee, the reporting structures are working.
Yes.
And you're happy with that? You're satisfied with that?
Yes.
Okay. And then in relation to the significant risks on page 5, property and evidence management. And Mr. Nugent mentioned, I don't think he intended to be flippant, but he was referring to a property difficulty that arose 10 years ago. This is serious, with reputational risks for the Gardaí if there isn't a proper system in place. I think of McCabe, I think of the Higgins report, and I think of a computer going missing. You know, so that's just one example. So there's a new system now in place.
Yes, and if I could offer some reassurance, that system went live in the Q3 of 2017.
Good, I understand that. And
rolled out entirely across the organisation.
Lovely.
And that's our management system.
Lovely. That's in place now everywhere.
Yes.
Okay. And has a review taken place of that to see how effectively it's working?
So the head of internal audit would look at property as part of his audits as he visits districts and divisions and stations. Yes.
Okay. So just 1 second now. So it's coming under audit.
So I'm saying audit would give a further reconfirmation that everything is working properly.
I'll go back to Mr. Harris now in relation to this new system, because obviously it's fundamental, isn't it, in relation to property that's going to be used in evidence or not.
Yes.
That there's a proper system in place. Are you satisfied that that system is now working? And if so, how are you satisfied? Has there been a look back? It's there since 17 and we're now in 19. Over the last 2 years, has there been a review and an assessment of how that's working to see if it's working properly?
Well, I can't answer that question directly. I can only, what I know of is the examinations that internal audit have done on their divisional visits. So I don't know the actual evaluation that a project of this sort would entail, but I can find that out and report
it would be helpful. I don't mean to, I'm innocent in not innocent. I'm ignorant in relation to this, but I'm delighted there's a new system in place. So the next question, is it working? How do we know it's working?
Well, it will, and I presume, but I will find out. It'll be subject to post-implementation review. So that would be part of the project management, and we can supply that.
Okay, at this point we don't know if that's happened, but you'll come back. Okay, then in relation to just I'll come to more general points, but just 2 specific things in relation to page 21, Garda Mass, and it's an income, it's a receipt, and it's jumped significantly. Can you just, which is good, presumably it's an income for you, but what is that? It's gone from 523,000 to 1.5 million. It's just a specific question that somebody might come back to. I'll continue on if you don't mind, while somebody is looking for that. In relation to Galway, I have particular interest, but it also happened in Kevin Street. Again, maybe somebody would come back. We have a very new welcome Garda station, and I'm not going to go parochial here at all about it, but there were significant changes and significant costs. And so the question arises, like with Children's Hospital and lots of other projects, why wasn't it foreseen? It's on page 15. Galway, amendments made to the original design required structural works. In addition, there were also other design changes to meet requirements for the Garda and so on. Again, really, if somebody could come back with a note, was there a competitive procurement process in the beginning, and then after that what happened and what was the cost increase? I'm thinking of the Children's Hospital, a price is given and then it changes. It would seem that some things arise, but it depends on what the changes were and why they weren't foreseen, why they weren't included in the original design. Just as a passing comment on that, I have no idea why it came out so close to the road in Galway. I couldn't let this pass without making a comment. There's absolutely no room for a bus route, and it's a terrible pinch point, but that's just a practical matter. Okay, so you're going to come back with two notes in relation to those.
So Deputy, I think, again, part of the overrun related to the environment in which the contractor found themselves. So I used Kevin Street as an example that I'd be particularly familiar with. So they would have had difficulties in delivering on the contract, where they would have had works that went beyond what was originally envisaged.
Mr. Nugent, I can read that from the little note.
Yes.
What I want to know is why it wasn't envisaged and how much did it cost?
Well, again, Deputy...
You're saying it just this arises.
What I said, Deputy, is that the control of this is managed on our behalf by the Office of Public Works.
Okay, I see.
Our responsibility is purely around the payment of this, so we don't have the detail around the specifics.
That's okay, I'll follow that up.
Can I just answer the question in relation to the mass that you raised, Deputy?
Yes.
We'll have to come back on that. I mean, I can only assume we have more revenue coming in from the various mobile phone providers who are using services, but I will revert with more detail on that.
Thank you. I'll follow up with Office of Public Works separately about the other matter, so that's fine. Just going back again to reputation and learning, this lovely word learnings, which I detest, but because I don't know what it means really, learnings, but in any event, fixed penalty charges and the breath test. Okay.
Yes.
That's an ongoing. You've that down here in your report as a significant risk to reputation and a significant risk financially. Where are we with that? Your note tells us that so many cases were taken. Just let me get it. I want to get the figure because it was extraordinarily high. Yeah. Fixed charge notice on page 5. So there was an examination of the summonses. 146,865 cases were found to have committed offences, and that was incorrect. Can you remind us again what was incorrect about it before I come on to the update in relation to appeals?
So, in respect of this matter, as you say, it was we identified between 2006 and the 7th.
Yeah, it's all laid out there. So my question is just in 146,865 cases inaccurately taken or incorrectly. I've actually forgotten the point of why they were taken inaccurately.
They were issued without the opportunity to pay an FCN.
Beg your pardon?
Fixed charge notice.
Yeah, but what was incorrect about it? They were all incorrect.
They went straight to summons as opposed to having the opportunity to avail of the fixed charge.
Thanks very much. Thank you. I'd forgotten that. And so when they went to court then, there was so many, a penalty was imposed in 14,700 cases. Were the others all discharged or what happened? Yeah.
There are various stages. Some of them were discharged.
No, 14,700 was left.
Yeah.
But of all the other ones, of the big sum, were they just discharged?
No, there was various different issues happened with them. So some of them didn't make it to court. Some of them there were summoned. The summons weren't served.
Yeah. In
some cases, they were still pending and before the courts at that particular time. So there was a variety of different responses accounting for those.
Yeah.
What we did know was that number, the 14,000, they had been concluded in the court, and they were the ones that were dealt with incorrectly, and they were the ones we had to deal with. Other ones we were able to put a stop on.
I understand. So
Because
the 14,000 ended up in court.
Correct. They
And you're
had
working your
concluded.
way through those now.
Correct.
And you're appealing them with the consent
Correct.
of the person.
Correct.
And so there's over 2,000 already sorted out.
Yes,
Is
that's
that right?
correct. 2,000, I think 200 have been done to date.
So-
We have issued letters to all of those people. A number of them have been returned unserved because people have moved from those addresses.
Okay.
So what we've done with those letters is we have issued them to the local district officer. So he has to make inquiries as to where the people have moved to try and pursue them through that process.
So of the 14,700, 2,274 have been dealt with, and
Yes.
you're working through the rest.
Yes.
Whichever, yeah.
Like,